So basically, it's a pleasure to be here and working with you today. I'm Pamela French, and I was the director and producer of a wonderful little documentary for the Learning Channel called Getting In, ... Kindergarten. And it really was sort of a story about my family as well. When my kid was 5 years old, my eldest, who's now going into 5th grade, I went through the same craziness, and I was amazed, being a native New Yorker all my life, that just all you have to go through to get into school. And today, well, he's going to 5th grade, so how many years, you do the math, 6 years later? He's, I'm very fortunate, he's at the Anderson School, PS 334 on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which is one of the 3 citywide gifted and talented public schools. Now, it's definitely a challenge having a child in that school because, in order to keep the school the way it is, right now, it's just, with the economy the way it is, private schools are always as desirable, but these gifted programs are even more so because they're free. So what's happening right now in New York City is, there's a big overpopulation in the public schools, and there's very few seats for local kids in very affluent neighborhoods like the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side. So those people that right now can't afford to send all their children or get into the private schools are looking at their local public schools. And what's happening is that they're very overcrowded. And so schools like Anderson, which again are citywide and in affluent neighborhoods, are getting sort of, it's very difficult, like what do we do with this population? Right now there are 3 tests that you take. You take the ERB for the private schools, the Stanford-Binet, which now is only good for Hunter, and there was a whole article about Hunter recently in the paper. And now there's also the OLSAT, which is used at every 4-year-old in preschool, any 4-year-old in public preschool, and any 4-year-old period can take to get into these gifted and talented citywide schools. So you have 3 tests for the children if you're in Manhattan and you want to get into Hunter. So basically what's happening right now is Anderson, which is a wonderful school, I'm very, very fortunate, it's a K through 8. Right now they're not sure whether this OLSAT test is really what is really determining the same kind of gifted intelligence that they had in the past. Also, they've eliminated on-sites, which allowed you, once you reached a certain point, a test score, you came to the school and you did like a similar on-site like Hunter does or the private schools do, where you get tested and you get looked at and you get to see yourself amongst other children in that environment, which is key. So right now they're not sure about what's going to happen in the future, but I do have to say that with the overpopulation in the Upper West Side on these schools like 87, PS 9, 199, 166, there's an overflow. And so Anderson, which was lucky to increase its class size last year for the kindergarten and 1st grade, now has to downsize for this year. And so we have 2 bubble classes, one which my child happens to be, my youngest. And so our last year's kindergarten and 1st grade were increased an extra class, so there was 3 classes as opposed to 2, and this year they're back to 2. And unfortunately, for a kindergarten class, there's 28 or 30 kids in a kindergarten class. So basically, my argument is this. We also, by the way, the test scoring is a big thing here. In the Wall Street Journal last week, Anderson was the top scoring testing school for the ELAs in the city. But the public schools in the city. But the thing is, right now, what we need to understand is that there should be more schools across the board like Anderson. There should be more schools. Every school should have the opportunity to teach a great academic, education for free. It is wonderful to have the private schools if you have the money, because you have smaller class sizes and you have more enrichments. But to have classes in schools like Anderson across the board, that all public schools should have these availabilities of wonderful teachers, enrichments, parents that really care about their kids' education. That's what it ultimately is. Why Anderson is also so successful, besides the incredible teachers and administration and the program itself, but the parents. We really care about our kids' education, and we work our butts off to raise money so that we can afford assistant teachers, we can afford enrichments, and we can afford all these extra things to help our kids. But down the line, we don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to start changing the tests again. I mean, this year is going to be the OLSAT, but the year after, it might be something different. So definitely get Karen's book, because What's going to happen is you're going to just need to know overall how to like sort of get your child the leg up, because even if your child scores amazing 99 on the LSAT to get into a gifted and talented public school, then it becomes a lottery. And there's no 98s and no 97s that get in. No way. Lab school, Nest, Anderson, it has to be a 99 and then it goes into the lottery. So you got to test, and you have to do the things she said. You have to sit down with your child and talk to your child. You have to show them shapes. You have to use that as part of just language, because we live in one of the most affluent cities in the world, and we have a lot of smart children. So that's it for me. I got to get back to work.